Mice of the Herringbone, Chapter 3, Cats and Mice. The great fish shot toward the bottle, its open mouth like a giant red cave. Oliver let out a terrified squeak as the shark's mighty jaws closed around their bottle. The bottle shattered and several jagged pieces of glass flew into the shark's mouth. The huge fish choked and thrashed about in the water. The next thing they knew, Charles and Oliver were out of the bottle and swimming for their lives. Here they are. You can see that. Look at that. The two mice struggled toward the surface. Charles began to get dizzy. He saw that Oliver was sinking, and he grabbed for his friend's paw. He pulled and kicked. He thrust himself upward with the last of his strength. With one last stroke, Charles reached the surface, still clutching Oliver's paw. He felt a gentle breeze on his face, and there was the moon above them. He coughed and thankfully filled his aching lungs with air. Oliver was still coughing and sputtering. "Thanks, pal," he said. "Think nothing of it, old fella," said Charles. "I couldn't go treasure hunting without you, could I?" "No, I suppose not." Oliver stopped to cough again. "Though I might be better off if you did." Charles laughed, and they set off for the 9 Lives, several yards away. "From mad dogs to civilized cats," muttered Oliver. "I suppose it's an improvement. One thing's certain, I'll sink to the bottom if we stay in the water much longer. Honestly, I feel like I've gained a bundle of weight today." "And you were complaining about food?" Oliver patted his belly. "Hey, what is it, Ollie? What's this? Something's hooked onto my pants." Oliver pulled up the something and held it above the water. There, sparkling in the moonlight, was a large golden earring. "Why, Oliver, you've brought up some treasure with you." "Well, look at that, will you? No wonder I felt so heavy. It looks like solid gold." It seemed like a long time later that they reached the 9 Lives. Oliver grabbed onto the ship's rudder. "I thought my legs were going to drop off." "It's been quite a long swim," agreed Charles. "Too long," panted Oliver. "Even a ship full of cats looks good to me now." The two friends climbed up onto the small ledge just below a window. There they rested, letting their clothes dry out. Charles wrapped the golden earring in his vest, and they both fell asleep. Charles awoke suddenly at the sound of a voice. It came from the cabin above their ledge. "Will there be anything else, Admiral?" Perhaps so, Mr. Calico. Would you mind bringing me a mug of warm milk before I retire?" "Yes, sir, Admiral Winchester." The Admiral set his lantern on the windowsill. He seemed to be getting ready for bed, all the while humming a cheery tune. There's the Admiral. You see him? Oh, there we go. "Hey, he sounds like a pleasant enough chap," whispered Charles, "for a cat. I say, let's show him that golden earring and have a chat with the fellow. After all, he's the Queen's man, so to speak." "Don't you think we ought to wait until he gets some warm milk in his stomach first?" asked Oliver. "I mean, maybe then he'd be too full to eat us." "Oliver, now's as good a time as any. Besides, what cat would stuff himself with mice when warm milk is on the way?" "I guess you're right." But Oliver hesitated. "Maybe I should wait out here for you. You have such a way with words. I'd be no help at all." Charles didn't like the idea of going in alone, but he clutched the golden earring and climbed across the window ledge. He stood there by the lantern and cleared his throat. "Ahem! Excuse me, sir." The cat kept right on humming, getting ready for bed. Charles tried again. "Ahem!" Once more his small voice went unnoticed. Then an idea came to him. He waved his hand back and forth in front of the lantern. A strange shadow flitted across the room. "Yow!" The startled cat jumped right out of his bedroom slippers. See, he sees the shadow on the wall from the lantern and the little mouse. Charles said timidly, "Excuse me, sir." The Admiral jerked around. His face looked as if it were expecting a ghost. A mouse?" he gasped. Charles swallowed hard. "At your service, sir, and I'm frightfully sorry if I startled you." "What, me startled? Ha ha!" The Admiral took a while to put on his bedroom slippers again. Then his eyes narrowed suspiciously. He stepped closer to the windowsill. "But I just might ask what business a mouse has, without orders, on Her Majesty's ship, the 9 Lives."